Welcome to the Football Tragics. It's the post-game reaction for Chelsea versus Man City. I'm Aaron, I'm a Chelsea fan, joined here by Tony and Matt. How are you, mate? You're also a Chelsea fan.
A bit
What was
upset.
your thoughts on the game? Thoughts on the game? Talk to us.
Clearly City have shown that they're most definitely not out of the title race, which some people were wrongly saying. Pep and the boys put on a absolute masterclass at the Bridge and played Chelsea off the park completely. Little bit more of an even second half, but still chances and all that completely dominated by City.
Yeah, from the first minute they took the pitch, they were just on it. Controlled the game, controlled the tempo, all over us from start to finish. It was unfortunate goal to concede. I think Jesus getting a bit lucky with the Jorginho deflection, but I think the way the game was going, they deserved to take the lead, and if they deserved the win. We didn't create near enough chances. 0 shots on target is just unacceptable, especially at home. Tony, I know you probably didn't catch too much of the game, but was it expected? What were your thoughts?
Oh, I mean, I had one eye. Obviously, I think as everyone did, they had one eye on each game, focused on the United game, which we'll get to later. But obviously one eye on Chelsea. I think for the first half, I probably watched about 20 minutes with one eye on the Chelsea game. I don't remember you guys getting past halfway, if I'm being honest. It was just City peppering you, putting the pressure on. And like we said, it was a lucky goal. It took a deflection. There's two things. How does he get that much time in the box to turn? And the second one is, like you said, they probably deserved it. Let's be honest.
Yeah, that's it. Well, that win takes City equal top now with Liverpool. And, obviously we drop points. United's now drop points. So just like you said, Matt, they're well and truly in this title race. I don't think anybody who was smart enough to realise knows that this City team, sometimes they do take a bit to get going, but when they're on, they're completely on. And that's the reason why they went, 19 games, 20 games or something, wins in a row last year. So it just shows.
Actually, just to jump in, I saw something crazy. I think there was a comparison to last year and this year at the same time of Man City. And it was something like they've conceded 7 less goals. They've got more points than what they did before this game last year. They've had, I think it was 2 draws last year and 1 loss, where this year they only had the 1 loss.
And the loss last year was 5-2 as well.
But to write City off this L, it's crazy. Look at their manager, look at their squad, look at their depth.
We look at it in the 88th minute, they sub on Raheem Sterling, who started every game at the Euros.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It's just, like as you said, Tony, you were flicking on between each game, and every time you turned it on, City was in our half. For that first half, we couldn't get out of our half. Lukaku wasn't as effective as we probably would have liked. However, obviously in group chats we were chatting, saying every time he got the ball, he was getting hacked by both Diaz and Laporte, and as a reason, they both got yellow cards because of challenges on him. But look, the way the game was going, they deserved the win. They were just too good on the day. I think the way we lined up wasn't it. Matt, what were your thoughts on the formation? The 3 in the middle didn't work.
I didn't particularly mind the 3 in the middle. I think it was more the exclusion of Thiago Silva. As you know, he's blocking the line in the second half shows. Just knows where to be, as he showed last week against Spurs. Just knows where to be defensively, and I'm not saying it would have made a difference, but obviously he was on the park for when they scored. But maybe if he was on from the start, maybe the dominance doesn't set in from the get-go, and maybe it's a different game. He's just a different head on his shoulders to lead the team. And that's really the odd one for me. I didn't expect that at all. The 3 in midfield, I think the difficult thing with having that was the movement and the rotation of City's wide players, and Foden at 9 coming in and that as well. It was matched up 3v3 in the middle, but just the overloads that City were creating from coming into the half spaces, and Cancelo and Walker getting forward just absolutely peppered Chelsea, and they couldn't even, whenever Chelsea did win the ball in there were 4 players pressing them and they couldn't even get out. As you were saying, beyond, I think 44 metres was the most I really saw comfortable possession at any time in the first half, and it was probably for 2 passes.
Yeah, you make some good points there. Like you said, Thiago Silva, he cleared one off the line, so that just shows his impact when he's on. I was a bit surprised as well. I thought for sure, man of the match performance against Spurs. Why is he not starting this game? Gets a bit lucky, comes on with Reece James going off injured, which didn't help, I don't think. He offers something probably more productive than what Aspie does going forward. But look, we were always going to have to go wide because those midfielders, they're not attacking players. I think the midfield battle was an interesting one. Like you said, City played wide, so we didn't get overrun in midfield at all. It was just they counted the fact that we had three central players and played wide. Lukaku and Werner couldn't do much when they got the ball because they were isolated, just them two up top. And there was times where Werner was down the wing and it was three people marking him. He's not going to be able to create anything. He did well a couple of times to get even a throw in. But even then, Lukaku was a bit too far off it, I think. Aspie put a couple good balls in, but there's also times where he didn't put the ball in, where I think both Lukaku and Werner were ahead of their man. So, look, I think if we attacked from earlier in the first half, after we conceded the goal, we went forward. So if we started the game like that, could have been a different story. But City just way too strong when they're on. And Pep finally gets his win over Chelsea and over Tuchel. It's been a long time coming for him. Was it now 4 meetings? And he's got 1 now. So, look, Wernie and I will take the one that mattered last year, the Champions League final. We'll still proclaim that. But
this one still matters, mate.
It does.
But the interesting thing that for me was, as Tony was saying there about the difference between last year and this year, I think you could really even see that from Pep's demeanour on the sideline and the work rate that he demanded from the team. I've never seen that from a City team before. He demanding work, chase, pressure on every single action because he knew if he did it and gave Chelsea half a sniff, the quality's there just to score and the game's back on. And then they have to try to break them down. It took them, 58 minutes with Chelsea in their 20 metres from goal. Took them that long to break them down the first time.
Let's be honest, I think his pride was hurt, and that's why we saw that from Pep. We saw him he lost 3 times in the space of how many weeks last year?
It was a couple months max.
I think it was 13 weeks or something.
Yeah, so the pressure was on. He wanted that win. He wanted to prove a point that he can beat Chelsea, he can beat your manager, and hey, he just showed it because I don't think, remembering back to any of those games last year, you guys got dominated like you did today. So fair play to Pep. He changed up who he played. We saw Torres on the bench again, Foden up top. Maybe that's what he's going to go for, but it worked. So we can't really knock what he's doing at the moment. Yeah,
I think Foden was very, very average. He's never going to be able to play that position against 3 centre-halves. He's too small. I think Ferran Torres does it well because he likes to make runs into channels, where what's his name? Phil Foden, likes to drop deep and get the ball, which doesn't work against 3. He's always going to have someone on him, in my opinion. So I think Pep probably didn't get that right, but where he got it right was the fact that they were playing wide. Grealish on the ball he's very technical. He likes to run with the ball. He's a fantastic footballer. He's exactly what City needed. And it proves that they probably didn't get a striker. In the end, it was probably the right decision to go and sign Grealish because he could have scored 1 or 2 if it wasn't for Mendy's heroics. But Tony, what were your thoughts on the lineup? I want to touch back on it. Do you think Chelsea missed a chance there with the lineup, or was City just too strong?
I mean, we look at the lineup and you look at, like we said, Silva was so, I guess, inspirational in that win you got last week, I think it was. Like, how does he not get into this lineup? Like, if he has a niggling injury, fair enough. You can't say anything. But he also came on in the 27th minute and finished the game, which to me shows he could have handled 90 minutes. So you almost put this result down to technical changes. Like, Pep went for Foden, he went for Grealish, he benched Sterling, whereas you guys went not to use Silva, who's probably been one of your most influential defenders this year, if not one of your best defenders this year. So I think that's where the lineup, like, I'm looking at the rest of the lineup. Werner was there, yeah. I mean, they were always going to take Lukaku out of the game, so you need to have someone else up there with him. But, I mean, the rest of the lineup, besides Silva, it looks pretty much what you're going to see week in, week out, to be honest.
Yeah, I was saying in a group chat to you, as I said, I want Kovac should be getting hooked for Ruben Loftus-Cheek, and 5 minutes later, it's not him who gets hooked, it's Jorginho. I don't know, I thought Kovacic had a very average game. He carried the ball well at times, but it's just that final pass just wasn't it. Ruben
is two big moments for him that he's, go back 12 months ago and he probably executes those on.
Absolutely. Or even beginning of the season, one of the ones he put on the platter for Lukaku. But I think Loftus-Cheek is asking questions of Tuchel now. I think he's demanding a spot in that team. Man of the match performance against Villa in the Cup. Comes on, looks pretty decent here. I think he's got a lot to prove. And I think, headaches for Tuchel. I think it just shows the depth that we've got in midfield. But look, Matt, do you have any closing comments? Like, it's not it's early on in the season. It's not the worst result in the world. We've got City out of the way now for a while. We can start to build a bit of momentum.
Yeah, well, definitely, you never want to lose these kind of games, especially at home. They say if you can win your game at home and get a draw away, you're doing well in these sort of top of the table clashes. But now it just means when we go to the Etihad, we need to make sure we try to at least get a point there. We can't afford to lose when we go to the Etihad in the second half of the year. But the good thing is our next sort of few weeks are pretty favourable and straightforward, or on paper. So hopefully we're then picking up some points there. City have to go to Anfield next weekend, so could be a potential banana peel there. That'll be another cracking game.
Yeah, like you said, we've got a few favourable fixtures coming up. We don't go away to a top 10 side until the 20th of November. So we've got 4 or 5 good games there, which I think we should be picking up maximum points. And if we do, we're back near the top of the table, looking good for the second half of the season. Tony, any closing thoughts? City, obviously, just, again, too good. That they're showing why they're going to be up there for this season.
From what I've seen from Chelsea to start the season, I think this puts City straight back at the top of the favouritism. Yes, Liverpool's playing well, but they couldn't get another goal against a 10-man Chelsea. City just showed that they mean business and they're my favourites. I mean, I said it at the start of the season. No, that hasn't changed, especially after today.
Absolutely. Well, thanks, lads, for joining us. We're going to jump into a United reaction. Look forward to hear from you, Tony, for that one. But we'll see you in the next pod. Catch us later.
So, yeah.